Yeah, hey Baker. So you threw with him last week, Tuesday now too. How does Odell look to you coming off that knee injury?
It looks really great. After seeing him run and really just talking to him as well, he feels comfortable. He's still getting used to some of these cuts and certain, motions. But I mean, you're talking about 7 months since the surgery, so it's pretty impressive how quickly he's come back.
You guys finished really strong last year offensively without him. What could his return mean for you and just for the ceiling of the entire offense?
I mean, obviously his play speaks for itself. He's an explosive player. But I think when it comes to teams scheming up for our offense, he has the dynamic, the deep threat. Teams have to roll safety over the top. They have to, whether they want to play one high, two high, just all the things that can, exploit matchups and create better opportunities for everybody else, not only himself.
Thank you, Jake. We'll go to Tom Withers.
Hey, thanks, Rob. Hey, Baker, good to see you. Do you have a greater appreciation for home run derby contestants now?
I do. It gets tiring. So, even swinging a light softball bat.
Hey, so we got a chance to talk to Denzel and Nick yesterday, and they talked about their contract extensions, and you're part of that class. What would it mean to have all three of you guys locked up long-term here as kind of the cornerstones of this franchise?
Obviously those guys are tremendous teammates, all coming in here together around the same time. It's just, that'd be very special, but that's one of those things that, I think everything happens for a reason and it'll handle itself. So just worried about winning. As I told you guys before, when I was asked about the 5th-year option, it's the same thought process for me, and it'll continue to be that way.
Hey, for obvious reasons, some of you decided not to come to the OTAs. I'm just wondering, how your conditioning has gone. Kind of where are you at right now in terms of the off season, maybe compared to where you were last year?
I feel really good. I feel even better than I did last year. Last year was completely all virtual, so I feel great. We've been able to get together with the guys. We did early session in Florida, then got one obviously down in Texas last week. So I feel really good about where I'm at and where we're at hitting the ground running right now.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tom. Mary Kay Cabot is next.
Baker, can you tell us, is your agent talking extension with the Cleveland Browns, right now? And would you like to get something done this summer in a perfect world?
I'm in no rush because I'm just trying to win games. And like I said, it'll handle itself. I'm sure Tom and Jack Mills are handling that. I don't try and feed too much into that because, that's like wasting my time and energy and thought process on stuff that I'm not in control of right now. So I'm going to handle what I can control.
And if in the event that that they decide to wait or you guys decide to wait, would you maybe perhaps view that as an opportunity to really bet on yourself in some ways and just go out and light it up and even maybe put yourself in a better position financially?
I've bet on myself my whole life. I've always taken it one day at a time, one play at a time. And like I said, I'm not going to handle it any differently now.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mary Kay. Scott Petrick, go ahead.
Hey, Baker, following up on what Tom asked you, how much do you think you and the offense were able to accomplish, from Florida and Texas before showing up this week?
I think we were able to accomplish everything we needed to. And so now it's great to be out there and doing some competition against the defense. Obviously, a lot of 7-on-7 stuff, as you guys saw yesterday. I think, where we're at right now, I feel good about it. Obviously, there's a ton of work to be had, but that's why it's only June.
And whether it's in those workouts or on Zoom, can you tell that you're more comfortable in year 2 of Kevin's system?
Absolutely. I think, I talked to you guys about the jump from after the bye week to the second half of the year. And, just the more reps and the more, times you're around these guys and explaining thought process and the communication when it comes to certain schemes is so important. So I think, the more we're doing that, and obviously as time goes on, it's only going to get better for all of us.
Thanks.
Thank you, Scott. Jeff Shadell, we'll go to you.
Hey, Baker, how do you see Harrison Bryant and Austin Hooper and the other tight ends growing in the second year of this offense?
I'm excited to watch that group. We have an incredible room, including David and Steven. It's a highly competitive group, and that's the best part. And I think they bring the best out of each other. I think they all add different aspects of their game. Not one of them is the same as the other. So I'm excited to see them grow and continue to understand our schemes. And that's a position that requires a lot of intelligence and to be able to read certain ways and communicate up front. It asks a lot of them, and they do a fantastic job.
Thank you, Jeff. Nate Ulrich, you're up.
Hey, Baker, after we got to talk to you last time, about the fifth-year option and the extension possibility, Jimmy Haslam spoke to us, and he said that really the timing is just up to Andrew Berry. But, kind of in that, it seemed like he was saying that, he's not worried that it's not going to happen. It's just a matter of time. Do you kind of get that sense? And is that kind of part of why you're saying you're not in a rush, you're not worried about it, that you feel comfortable that eventually something will work out? It's just a matter of time.
Like I keep saying, I think everything happens for a reason. I think the chips will fall where they're supposed to. Like I said, I'm concerned about winning. And that's what everybody in this building needs to be concerned about. It's not saying that anybody is not, but the concern right now is winning and building a strong foundation for this season.
And I've asked you about this before, but I was just wondering if you had an update on your feelings. You've said before that you felt like you were born to play quarterback in Cleveland. After last season, did that even strengthen that belief?
Yeah, I think, the things that I said even before the draft, right after the draft of Cleveland's a town, it's about work ethic, a blue collar mentality. And that's what I've always been about. So I think that's why it's been a great match.
Thanks, Nate. Aditi Kinkabwala has our next question.
Hey, Baker, I generally don't like to go backwards, but if we could go to last season, the challenge of retooling your footwork, learning a new offense, learning a new head coach and offensive coordinator. Can you talk a little bit about, or can you tell us a little bit, what was really the hardest part of that? And was it the bye week where it all just kind of, you felt like, okay, I've got it? Did it take that long?
I think, the combination of, the lack of OTAs and mini camp last year, and to be able to get those live reps and work those new schemes combined with the footwork, and to talk through those things right after the reps with Alex Van Pelt and Kevin, and just, I don't know, it's the combination of all of those things that just takes repetition to be able to grow and get comfortable in it. And so I think that's why you saw our offense only get better as the year went on, and especially on my front. So I expect to continue to grow and get better.
One of the things that Coach Stefanski told us at the end of the season was that you would have meetings and have very specific goals for this coming year. Are any of those goals, will you share any of them with us? What are the next steps you or as an offense you hope to be able to accomplish, attain?
I think in a general sense, what I'll tell you guys is we got to be more efficient on third downs. Have to be better early on. Early in the season. I think, obviously that we got better as the year went on, but I think for me, it's continuing to put us in manageable situations to win ball games and extend leads. Obviously my priority is always winning. That's the first and foremost, biggest goal I'll always have. And then, personal stuff after that, I think always comes with winning.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dee. Back to Jake Trotter.
Yeah, hey, Baker, over the weekend at the softball game, Jarvis said, why not talk about Cleveland in the Super Bowl? It's something that, people say you shouldn't talk about, but he said, he doesn't have any problem talking about that. That's what you guys are striving for. That's what the standard should be. How do you feel about that?
I think everybody that plays this game is striving to be a champion. If you're not doing that, I think you're in it for the wrong reasons. And I've said that time and time again. You strive to win in everything you do. And that's, the kind of culture that we've been working on building, because building a culture is not easy. And that's been a process. So, we're striving to continue in building a winning culture.
There were a lot of expectations, a lot of hype before the 2019 season. When you look at it now, how is this team built differently, culture-wise, to deal with the expectations, to deal with the spotlight coming off last season that you guys are going to have this year?
I mean, that's 2 years ago. So it's not even, comparable. But when it comes to culture, it's just a process. It wasn't exactly fun the first few years trying to build that. It just takes, getting people in the right mindset, having people on the same page, and that's one of those things that takes time.
Thanks, Jake. We're going to take three more. Daryl Ryder, Tom Withers, Scott Petrick. Daryl.
Hey, Baker, you guys already did the workouts down in Florida. You got together in Austin. I'm just kind of curious, when you leave tomorrow for that 6-week break before training camp, is there anything specific that you want to get accomplished before you guys have to hit the ground running, or do you feel pretty comfortable with everything you've been able to get done this offseason?
I feel good with where I'm at right now. Obviously, like I said, there's a lot of work to be done. That's not to say that we won't continue that, even though we won't be together. Those lines of communication will always be open when it comes to all of us getting on the same page. And so that's the good part about this team is we've built relationships and friendships now that communication is very open and honest, and that's extremely important. The chemistry when it comes to being able to say, hey, I'm wrong right here. Tell me if I'm wrong. Tell me if you need something out of me. That's vital, and I think that's what we've been working on the most. And that's what a good culture is all about. And when it comes back down to it, when we hit the ground running for training camp late July, that we don't skip a beat.
It's interesting. You brought up the friendships, the relationships. That's right where I was going next. Watching practice yesterday and just seeing the different position groups and the conversations that were going on, and a lot of guys were smiling, laughing. You could really see a lot of camaraderie. Could you just kind of maybe take us inside a little bit? Just what's it like this year? The fact you guys are even able to get together on a football field before training camp, and just obviously you're light years ahead of where you were a year ago, but just how much further down the line is that chemistry in those relationships this year versus maybe this time last?
Far ahead of what it was. I'll say that, obviously, because, we all these guys played together. It was a very new roster with a lot of new faces last year. Yeah, we added some key pieces and a lot of guys, but those guys are good culture guys. And when you bring that type of person in, they fit right in and just, they join along, and that's why we welcome these guys in with open arms. And you enjoy playing and working with people that have the same goal-oriented mentality as you, and so that's why you see that.
Thanks, Daryl. Tom Withers.
Thanks, Rob. Hey, Baker, you'll experience this in practice, but what's it going to be like for quarterbacks to walk up to the line and see Myles Garrett on one side and Jadeveon Clowney on the other?
My two tiny friends. It's fun. It's fun to watch them work. I wouldn't say it'd be very fun to go up against them, but I think that duo creates a lot of stuff for a lot of other people in the back end. Obviously, we have a lot of guys that are very talented, so it's not just those two, but they do add a special dynamic. And when it comes down to offensive scheming, that you have to worry about those two guys.
What have you thought of the defensive upgrades in general? And have you gotten a chance to meet, Johnson and Walker and some of those other key pieces that you talked about before?
I think they're great players. Obviously JJ's picked me off, so is AWalk. So I'm still trying to get vengeance on those guys. But like I said, we're bringing in right culture guys, and that's the important part. They're great players, but they're fitting right in and driving this train even quicker than it needs to be.
Thanks.
Thank you, Tom. Last one to Scott Petrick.
Hey, Baker, how important is it to have all the top receivers coming back for another year? And then with the young guys, especially a guy like Donovan Peoples-Jones, what have you seen when you've been working out with him away from the facility?
Donovan looks incredible right now. He looks like he's in really, really good shape, running around. Obviously, he's a smart guy that we were able to, plug and play. He knows his role and knows exactly what his job is. But it's great to have that same group back, the camaraderie in that room, and to, hit the ground running. We've talked about a lot of things. We grew a lot over the last year, and, we're continuing that. So it's exciting to have O back, obviously, after the injury, and have an even healthier Jarvis and just have that room all together again.